good to go?
All right. Good morning, everyone. I just visited with Officer Josh Baker just to check on his condition, meet with his family. He is in good spirits. He was sitting up, actually. Talked to his mother. His condition is stable at the moment, so they're still evaluating how much longer he'll be in the hospital, but he appears to be doing okay. It was a very tragic incident yesterday involving the young lady on the traffic stop. My prayers go out to her family as well during this very terrible time. So any questions that you have, I'd be happy to take.
Chief, do you feel like Officer Baker handled the situation the right way?
I actually do. I've reviewed the body cam footage, and he appeared to do everything he could to try to de-escalate the situation, including the use of taser, including trying not to use his firearm. But as she pulled his firearm and fired at him, he fired upon her. I think he did everything he could. So.
In hindsight, do you think that the officer should have waited for backup before he tried to take her into custody?
Those things escalate relatively quickly. We live in that world sometimes. You try to make the arrest. Everything seemed relatively calm. That's usually happens in our work, and then it goes from there. He had called for backup. Backup was on the way, and it just escalated from there. So.
Why did you think it was so important to release the body cam video for public viewing?
That's just been the thing that I've wanted to do since I was appointed. I want to be transparent. I want to show that we're an accountable police department, and we want to get the accurate information out there as quickly as possible. Whether it's a shooting that's deemed good or one that has a lot of concerns, I want to get them out as quick as we can.
What was the initial reason for the traffic stop? I understand it was, the vehicle belonged to somebody who had several warrants out, but what was the reason for pulling the vehicle?
Well, it's a traffic violation, and as usual, when officers make a traffic stop, they run it on their MDC's computer, and they call it in to the dispatcher. It came back. The individual that owned the car had 6 warrants on file. That area has had a lot of problems here lately, concerns from violent crime, robberies, homicides, etc. And so officers are in that area trying to identify problem people and get them into custody or maybe divert them. So he was just doing his job, making a traffic stop.
Can you elaborate on what you mean by traffic stop? Like, what was the violation?
I'm not sure what the violation was. I'll get the information on that. But it was a traffic stop. Officers cannot pull someone over without violating the law. And then he run the tag, and it came back that the individual had warrants. So.
What was the reason for searching the purse when he realized that she wasn't the individual he was looking for? What was the realize to start to do search?
Yeah, well, she was just a search from when the evidence on there, he was going to make an arrest and search incident to arrest. He was going through the purse. And so then, he found some drug paraphernalia, said she was under arrest, and it just went from there. He tried to do it peacefully. He tried to do it without even using a taser, at least less lethal force. But yeah.
Do you think the officer's conduct yesterday might have escalated the incident?
I don't think so. I don't think he escalated. I think he did everything to de-escalate. Even when she was pulling away from the scene, he was still on his knees, and she could have directed the vehicle towards him if she wanted. So, yeah.
You mentioned that he was in good spirits when you went up there. Did he say anything? Did you guys talk about anything?
We did. I asked him how he was doing. Asked him if I could provide him and his family absolutely anything to help them. He was in a little bit of pain still, understandably. His stomach had been, had a procedure done, and so he's a little groggy still. His mother was there. She's in good spirits too, but he, we just talked briefly about him and how he was feeling. So.
How many times was Officer Baker shot?
What's that?
How many times was Officer Baker shot?
We have one that we know of at this present time.
When you came into office, one of the things that you said you were going to work really hard is starting the de-escalation.
I can't hardly hear you. I'm sorry.
One thing that you kind of talked about in previous press conferences is sort of de-escalation training for officers.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that what he did that I guess that he complied with that policy?
He did. He de-escalated as much as possible. He tried to use less lethal force, tried to take her into custody without that. It's just a situation where you have the unknown and it escalates quickly. I think he did try to de-escalate.
Is there anything else that could have happened that would have made the situation better? Is there anything else he could have done?
It's nothing else he could have done better other than just maybe leave the scene and let her go on her way, and obviously he couldn't do that. So.
There was another incident Friday night
Mhm.
where officers responded to a woman, pardon me, what's the title? And so that was the second officer-involved shooting of the day.
Mhm.
You know, what are your thoughts about that? And do you think this, officer-involved shooting?
Yeah, so last night on Greer Road, there was a call for service where a young lady had called to say that she was suicidal. Officers from the police department and the fire department also responded, and they tried to wait for backup to get there, and it escalated. She charged them to use a taser. The taser appeared to be ineffective. And then she charged with the pickaxe, and the officer fired one time, striking her. She's critical, but I believe stable. So hopefully she's going to pull it through as well. Just an unfortunate incident, and something that I've been working on, and we're hoping to have a co-response model between the police department for crisis intervention, where we can have mental health experts and police officers respond simultaneously. And so until we get that, this was our best response, and unfortunate that this lady was suicidal.
Chief, do you know if the gun that Nika used belonged to her, or if it belonged to the individual whose car it was?
So the TBI is conducting the investigation, and as soon as they make that available, I'll release that to everyone.
With two officer-involved shootings happening in just one day, are you concerned at all? What are you telling your men and women on the force as they go out to continue to patrol and protect neighborhoods?
I tell our men and women to use caution, make the best judgment, de-escalate when they can, but just be careful. This is a dangerous job, and it's a dangerous time not only here in Nashville but around the country. Violent crime is on the rise everywhere, and so it's just unfortunate that we have to deal with that during this time, but I tell them to be careful and just pay attention to signs if they can, and when possible, de-escalate.
Anything else?
Sir, one last question. Do you seek to release the body camera footage from last night's event?
We will. So all body cams have not been deployed throughout the police department yet. We've done 440 body-worn cameras and 236 in-car cameras. Madison don't have full deployment yet, but one of the officers did, and we will release that. So.
Chief, is that going to be a policy moving forward of always releasing the body camera?
Yeah. I just think it's the best approach. It's just transparency. It shows that we want to put it out there, right or wrong, and let people see what's going on.
If I can add one thing about the circumstances of yesterday. As we have conducted the investigation, Officer Baker had knowledge that this car was registered to a person with outstanding warrants. And that's the reason Officer Baker was going after this particular vehicle. That's why he went into the parking lot, that he was aware that this car, the owner of the car, had 5 felony drug warrants and 1 misdemeanor warrant. In fact, if you saw the video, you actually hear him asking whether a helicopter is available, because he thought that the driver might decide to run from him, to flee. That's why he was checking on the availability of a helicopter, etc. And then, as you heard on the video, the vehicle pulls into the parking lot of the Dollar General. So it wasn't necessarily a traffic stop for a traffic violation. It was, he knew that this vehicle was registered to a person with multiple outstanding felony warrants, and who, as you know, is also a convicted felon.